My name is Kathryn Mapes Turner, and I was blessed to be born and raised on the Triangle X Ranch in Grand Teton National Park, Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And it was being born and raised here that shaped me as an artist. Every day I got to wake up and see these beautiful vistas, and it instilled something in me where I wanted to find a way of expressing my gratitude for this landscape. My father was a zoologist in addition to a rancher. So we as kids, we were outside all day, every day. And he took a great deal of time and energy to share the natural world with us. So as a kid, I was riding horses. We'd go down to the river bottoms, we'd go into the woods, we'd go into the mountains. And I learned all about the ecology. And I was really fortunate because I had a great deal of support from my family and friends like Fred Kingwell, who saw what an interest that I had in art early on. I would paint the Tetons, I would paint the horses, I'd paint the wildflowers that I found, and I would sketch all the time. I always had a sketchbook with me. I feel like one of my greatest good fortunes was being born and raised in Wyoming. I think a place like Wyoming really shapes a spirit. It's great for an artist because there's so much space and opportunity for freedom. And that instills in us a sense of wonder and a sense of awe. And that is really what drives my painting, is this appreciation for the miracle of the natural world, of the wildlife and the landscape. The thing about coming to the same place often and repeatedly, you notice that every time you come it's different, depending on the time of day, depending on the season, depending on the light or the weather at the time. I think you would call me a regionalist. This is the place that I paint. This was the genesis of my love for painting. And this place is really in my bones. And I can paint it over and over again, and exploring it in a new way. My painting of wildlife probably is rooted in painting horses, because I grew up with horses. I had access to them. I think it's really important when you're painting animals that they have a sense of vitality, a sense of liveliness. That is expressed through their movement, which is what I'm striving for in my artwork. I paint both in watercolors and oils. Watercolor was my first medium and probably my first teacher, because watercolor has a certain element of surprise. And I incorporate that in my oils now. I kind of allow for a certain amount of spontaneity. The National Museum of Wildlife Art has played a profound role in my growth as an artist. I'll never forget the first visit that I made when I was in my high school art class, had a field trip. That's when the museum was on the square. And we had an assignment that we had to paint something in the collection. I did a drawing of a sculpture that I later painted, and then Bill Kerr bought it for the permanent collection. The vote of confidence that gives to a high school kid changed probably the course of my life. To have my work included in that permanent collection is a deep, deep honor for me because of the regard that I have for this collection. In a lot of ways, the collection at the National Museum of Wildlife Art was one of my mentors. It was a teacher of mine that I would spend time with that collection, and I would learn from the runguses, and I would learn from the coons, and I would study them. I've been a student of the National Museum of Wildlife Art my whole life.